Hello, my good people. I greet you all. Una know wetin dey sup now? BBC don't go Rivers State o. They go check everything. Election when it happen for there this year when we did so 2023. The election when we do February 25th presidential election. BBC don't go check everything wetin happen for Rivers State. They come detail say na Labour Party na him win there, which is Peter Obi na him clear there o. They go check. They come say the result when APC get. They say it not reach anything. They say they change everything overnight. Now they change them. Now weekend. Now they carry them to change those things when it happen there. No, my people, not be me talking. I will leave una make una see the way they tell they explain and what happen for there. Now we see the video by ourselves before una will watch am. Make una share this video. Make una like and leave una comment for the comment section so that Facebook will recommend it to other people to see too. Don't forget, say we have national anthem this platform. Oh, now be laba brun laba. My people, make una watch am. Now be this one. Oh, NATO.
Now, an investigation by the UK's national broadcaster, the BBC, has reportedly found significant discrepancies in the presidential election result in one state in Nigeria. As you know, the two defeated candidates in that presidential ballot recently launched legal action challenging the outcome after the APC candidate Bola Tinubu was declared the winner and is now president-elect. Well, the BBC investigation has reportedly found evidence suggesting that some results in the key battleground state of Rivers may have been manipulated. A BBC team said they tallied the votes from more than 6,000 polling stations in Rivers State, where the official result gave a clear majority to Mr. Tinubu, and that their investigation shows that Mr. Tinubu's total was significantly inflated, while the Labour Party candidate Peter Obi's tally was reduced. So what should we make of this BBC investigation? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by Arise political editor and director of news, Sumner Samba. Good to see you, Sumner.
Thank you so much, Charles.
So tell us more about what the BBC has uncovered. They seem to have found evidence that the presidential election results in Rivers State may have been manipulated.
Yeah, and I would say there's nothing new about that. We saw domestic observers like Yaga Africa pointing out to this. And then there was also a publication by Premium Times which adduced to some of the things that the BBC says it has found out. And it's nothing really new. Well, these issues are before the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal. Nonetheless, we've always known that since 1999, when we returned to democracy, elections in Rivers State have always been controversial. And my God, in 2007, the results that came out from that state, I mean, where the talk of town, yeah, I mean, everywhere, the same thing until 2011 when we started, cleaning up the system and then gradually, I mean, results not only from Rivers, but from other parts of the country. But I can tell you that the discoveries by the BBC, especially in Obiakwa local government area, it's not so distant from what a lot of people have said. And if you know that during the election period, Professor Edias, who was the state chief coalition officer for the presidential election, which is called SCOPE, the state coalition officer for the presidential election, had raised the issue and saying that, look, there was even a threat to his own life because of the allegations that he had manipulated the election. But he said no. The allegations of this tampering of election results actually happened at the polling units and then local government units allegedly, and that a lot of people are accusing him falsely that they should go down and actually find out what happened. And some of these political parties actually could not fully understand the mathematics that took place in Rivers State, because I mean, for the APC to come first at the presidential election in Rivers State speaks a lot of volumes, because we know that the candidate was not so much popular in that part of the country. So, I mean, it's elicited a lot of mixed reactions. That state has always been a PDP state. And then the Labour Party was also gaining popularity among some followers there. But when you come to the campaign grounds, you'll see that the Labour Party actually lost grounds in terms of the turnout of people that came for the campaigns. And of course, there were state-sanctioned things here and there, despite that Governor Nyesom Wike had offered some support to Peter Obi when he went to campaign there. He couldn't fill stadium, the Liberation Stadium, which is now known as Yakubu Gowon Stadium there. But in all, there's still a lot to be unraveled, and I can tell you that it's left for the judiciary to come straight. But of course, those who have petitioned also have to prove. And so the onus is on those who have gone to court to prove indeed that those votes were tampered with, and then of course it's left for the courts to actually accept.
Sure, but in terms of looking at the methodology that was used by the BBC to arrive at this conclusion that they've arrived at, basically after tallying all the results from the sheets that were available and comparing those to the officially declared results by INEC, they found a very large discrepancy, and that Bola Tinubu's votes had gone up by more than 100,000, whereas those of B2B had fallen by over 50,000, which appeared to show quite a big discrepancy.
Yes, indeed. Those challenges were there because of, there's what is called the parallel voter tabulation by some NGOs and all of that, election monitoring organizations. Now, in the PVT, you will discover that there were lots of NGOs who had, observers at several polling units. And then, of course, you also had the political parties having their party agents and all of that. But, Charles, do you know why the elections in Rivers will always be controversial? Because of the terrain. There are some areas geographically within Rivers State that electoral officials don't go to. Not because they don't want to go to, but because of the terrain. And in 2003, 2007, there were instances where INEC officials were brought into the middle of the sea and told to either want to disappear if they go forward, or they should just go back to Port Harcourt City in safety. And of course, some of them had to take the option of going back to Port Harcourt City. And when the results came out, you needed to see all the results coming out from those localities. There are some places that even policemen can't go to. This happens in several societies, those dark zones where elections are not held, and then you see results being brought out. But the good thing about this is that we had this voting machine, BVAS, and of course, if you follow what happened at the Supreme Court with the Oshun case, and the Adeli case emerges as, having got his verdict fully now, there will be a lot to prove at the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal. That's why I'm being careful not to get into certain discussions, because these issues are in court, and when the Premium Times report came out, for example, and these issues had to be placed before the electoral body, INEC, they simply said that they can't comment on it because it's before the tribunal. But looking at some of the ways the BBC report went, I would say that they did a great job, just like Yaga Africa, just like Premium Time, because they placed the results side by side with the parallel voter tabulation, and alongside what some of the party agents had brought back, and then from the realities on ground there. And you could see that, look, when they call some of the polling INEC officials to want to cross-check some of those documents with them, the election results, some of them were not willing to actually say they authored those results. And if you go to the INEC website, as I'm speaking with you, Charles, you'll see where some things are written in biros and all of that.
Things cancelled out.
Cancelled out. Some, you just see the coalition officer writing that, look, there was problem in this.
So
no figures attached. No coalition paper